Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, the patron-in-chief of the Pakistan People's Party, has raked up the Kashmir card. Facing one of the toughest electoral battles in his fledgling career, Bilawal did what his family has done historically. Bilawal promised to take back every inch of Kashmir from India.
Our cities are being bombed indiscriminately by the might of India.
His grandfather promised a 1,000-year war against India.
By the formidable machine of the Indian armed forces. But we are resolved, sir.
His mother regularly took on India. And now Bilawal Bhutto Zardari has come out with his own anti-India rant, promising to take back every inch of Kashmir from India. The patron-in-chief of Pakistan's People's Party clearly playing the K card to garner votes. The deliberate provocation is in sync with his family's Kashmir fixation. While Bilawal's grandfather Zulfikar openly indulged in India bashing, Mother Benazir colluded with anti-India groups.
Scotland referendum held. Obviously, the Kashmir issue has again revived in this aspect. And he was talking in Multan, in Punjab, in fact, in the flood-hit areas. And obviously, this is a problem that has to be settled. And Pakistan believes that the Kashmiri majority wants to join Pakistan, and India is refraining from holding referendum there. And this is the stated position of Pakistan, which he has just reiterated.
He made it very clear that, as far as we are concerned, the integrity and unity of India is non-negotiable.
Raking up the Kashmir issue has been an easy method to garner votes by inciting passion. Bilawal plans to contest 2018 Pak polls, and his outburst is seen as pandering to vote bank politics.
All right, we're joined live from Pakistan now by Hina Rabbani Khar, former Foreign Minister of Pakistan. Here with us in the studio, we have with us former High Commissioner to Pakistan, G. Partsarathy. Also my colleague from Mail Today, National Bureau Chief of the Mail Today newspaper, Rizaul Laskar. We'll be going to them in just a minute. Ms. Khar, I'd like to come to you first. India's reaction has been, uniformly, one of derision, one of hilarity, lots of jokes online about this. The official word from the ruling party here in India is that this is immature and childish of Bilawal to even suggest something of this kind, ma'am.
Listen, I think it is extremely important that in the case of countries like India and Pakistan, we really do keep things in perspective. And I don't think it serves the interest of either countries to blow things out of proportion and to become delusional about what's the problem or what the reality is. Now, when it comes to this particular comment yesterday, I don't think we should blow it out of proportion. I don't think we should take it out of context.
But did you see the video, ma'am? You've seen the video, you've seen the tone, you've seen the tenor.
I happen to be present on location at that particular point in time. This was in Multan. Now, the deal is that, listen, if we start reacting to every comment that has been made by Narendra Modi during his campaign, I'm quite sure you will find not one person in Pakistan who would basically be in favor of even having a dialogue with the person who can rant about Pakistan the way he did. Now, as far as this is concerned, I think what he has said...
Are you saying we should ignore this comment then?
I'm saying that you should take this comment in context. I'm saying that the context is that Kashmir remains a disputed territory between India and Pakistan. The context is that Kashmir is a dispute which is recognized as disputed territory by both countries. And if you want this to be clear to you, then I think the only thing you have to look at Security Council.
Hina Rabbani Khar, you've made your...
Listen, I don't think I've made my point. You also have to keep in context the fact that both in the resumed dialogue and in the overall comprehensive dialogue, Kashmir remained a point of discussion. So let's just,
the point,
I think what we said...
The point is the maker of the point. The point is also the maker of the point, ma'am. That's why you're seeing such a reaction from India. It's almost like, who is Bilawal Bhutto to say such a thing? Okay, just for a moment, stay on with us. Let me get a response. Let's get a response. I'll come back to you, Ms. Khar. Mr. Partsarathy, please respond to what Hina Rabbani Khar has just said. Also, you know, you've been in Pakistan, you've met the Bhuttos, you know, you've worked you've worked with the Indian High Commission. You've been the Indian High Commissioner there. You've met the Bhuttos. You've been there when, you know, so many of these statements have been made in the past as well. Bilawal Bhutto is not the first Bhutto to make a statement of this kind. What is your response? What would you say to Hina Rabbani Khar right now?
Look, let's be clear. I knew his parents before he was born. I knew them. I knew Benazir at least since 1982. And Zardari Saab's in 1988 when I went with Rajiv Gandhi. First point in response to Hina Rabbani Khar, we do not recognize Kashmir as a dispute. If she reads the Simla agreement or any agreement between India and Pakistan thereafter, we call it the Kashmir issue. Okay? So we don't recognize this as being a dispute. And that is there in every India-Pakistan agreement. Now, with regard to what Bilawal has, young Bilawal has said, all I can say is he's a young politician. Let's not forget he's a Sindhi and a Shia. It took a long time for Bhutto as a Sindhi to establish a national presence, and he did so with an anti-Indian rhetoric. When he landed the country in the 65 war, even Ayub and the military were very unhappy because he didn't serve them well.
Right.
And it led to 71. So I think rhetoric in Pakistan on Kashmir will continue.
Is part of
but let's be real. It has never been an issue in an election.
Yes.
Neither Nawaz nor anybody else during an election speaks of Kashmir. Now, in the case of Bilawal, I'm quite certain the first time perhaps that he's addressing a gathering in Punjab, in Multan, and he had earlier been in Lahore. So he thinks this is a way to get him ahead. Right now, Pakistan is more bothered about its internal problems in Islamabad with this,
in fact,
and that is the issue.
That is the issue.
In engaging the public there. So for him to talk in Kashmir now is a bit of a joke.
Is a bit of a joke.
And I treat it as a joke.
Hina Rabbani Khar, could you respond to that? I mean, the question is Bilawal blind to the mess that is in Pakistan? I mean, you know, talk about Pakistan first, then you can talk about Kashmir.
Listen, I don't think it will serve anyone's interest to try and put each other down.
No, not at all, ma'am. Not at all. It's a direct question. It's a direct question. I mean, the PPP is looking for relevance.
I would really request you to give me time to respond. I'm not used to being clobbered down by sort of hostile comments. I'm willing to answer hostile comments, but please allow me to speak when I'm speaking.
Please go ahead, ma'am.
And first of all, I don't think it will serve anyone's interest to put each other's leaders down, to put each other's peoples down, and to, as I said, blow things out of proportion, right? Now, as far as if you want us to be bogged down by nomenclature, I think the esteemed gentleman over here and myself and many other people can sit and talk for 2 days about what nomenclature to use to describe a dispute. Now, what I'm saying is, if the two countries reasonably, rationally agree to talk about an issue amongst each other, I think that is the way to go forward. And no, hold on. And if you also want to be selective in remembering history vis-a-vis the Bhuttos or the Pakistan People's Party, please go ahead and do so. But I don't think the People's Party, Bilawal Bhutto or any Bhutto or any Pakistani leader from the Pakistan People's Party requires legitimacy in Punjab or anyone or anywhere else.
One little point in response to the foreign minister.
Go ahead.
I have never heard his father use such language in the 5 years that he was president, and his father has a unique record of being the only head of government who handed over to another democratic government. And he did so without ever using this sort of language or rhetoric.
And the thing is, Bilawal happens to be, like Mr. Partron was saying, Bilawal happens to be the third Bhutto to make an aggressive point of this kind on Kashmir. I want to bring in Rezaul. You've seen, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto talk about, promising a 1,000-year war. You've seen Benazir Bhutto, say that the governor of Jammu and Kashmir should be hacked, so Jagmohan becomes Jag Mo Mo Han Han, and now you're seeing Bilawal Bhutto. Rezaul, can we just dismiss this as a young politician looking to launch his political career? Is that all this is?
Well, you have to look at the larger picture. Right now, Pakistan is ruled by the PMLN. The PPP definitely wants to come back to some sort of position of strength.
Yes.
And that's the reason why, Bilawal is touring Punjab at a time when there are floods. You know, you have to look at the fact also that he's just turned, I think he's just about to turn, or he's turned 25, which makes him eligible to finally contest elections in Pakistan.
Yes.
So he is building up a base. He is trying to, you know, create some sort of a momentum to his own political career. It's not yet decided whether he'll contest by polls or he'll wait for the next elections. So I think you have to see it in terms of that, you know, but then it also, as you said, feeds into the family legacy.
Yes.
When he's just kind of, you know, taking up an issue. I mean, if you look at the PPP, they've always said that Kashmir is a cornerstone of their, you know, fundamental policy of the party. And, you know, the PPP wants to, you know, build on that, and kind of, I think Bilawal is trying to feed on that. But I mean, it's a bit strange because Multan is not a place where this sort of an issue resonates.
Right.
It's not an issue that, you know, it's not a really big issue.
You know, which is precisely what leads me to the question that I'd like to put to a senior journalist who's joining us from Pakistan, Mubashir Zaidi. Mr. Zaidi, you know, I mean, how is the Pakistani media looking at what you know, this young man said, what Bilawal Bhutto said? He said this in Multan, where an issue like this perhaps has less resonance than elsewhere. So is he like out of touch? Is he completely out of touch by even picking up Kashmir when Pakistan itself is in a complete mess, when the Pakistan People's Party is looking for some kind of electoral relevance? It's been decimated in the last elections. Is Bilawal completely out of sync with current realities?
Well, I think it's more of a rhetoric than anything, and to gauge this from the fact that none of the Pakistani media outlets have picked this thing and are talking about it, which means that they have already dismissed it as a rhetoric or maybe a one-off shoot from a politician who's trying to make his name as the future Bhutto, which is the legacy of the Pakistan People's Party, which is one of the biggest parties in Pakistan. But at the time when he's visiting floods, people, I think, were expecting him to focus more on the relief efforts that are being done on floods, and no one was expecting him. And they are right now taking his remarks as one-off comment, which is totally unwarranted, unrelated at this time.
Okay, Mr. Parsarthi, you want to add to that?
Absolutely, I entirely agree with Mr. Zaidi that look, at this point in time, they have other priorities. Moreover, even if you go back to his grandfather, after 71, don't forget, he was the one who gave signed the Simla agreement, which gave sanctity to the line of control. So people evolve, and I go along with Mr. Zaidi that, look, the People's Party, you must remember, is in as bad a shape in Punjab, which is the largest province, as the Congress was in UP.
Yes.
They are looking for issues, but if he was to take up this issue, he should have taken it up in Jang or northern Punjab, certainly not in Multan, so that I think he has still to pick up in politics. But I must say one thing, his mother and grandfather were very, very shrewd politicians. And his father was a man of considerable maturity, remains a man of considerable maturity and balance. As I said, ruling Pakistan for 5 years, the way Mr. Zardari did, and strengthened democracy and handed over, does his father.
Hina Rabbani Khar, his parents, Bilawal's parents were, shrewd politicians who knew what they were doing, knew what they were talking about. Does it worry leaders like you and other leaders in the PPP that, Bilawal doesn't appear to be, very much in touch with the current realities?
Look, I think it will be entirely unfair to say that if any Pakistani politician makes a statement about Kashmir, which is a very relevant issue within the foreign policy context of Pakistan, that he is out of touch with reality. I think he is very much in touch with reality when you bring out these issues. Now, first of all, let's get things right. Please, let's not be selective in our memory of the Pakistan People's Party or its leaders. I'm quite sure you do remember that together with Rajiv Gandhi, Ms. Benazir Bhutto almost chalked out a solution for Siachen. And as foreign minister, I had the pleasure of seeing signed copies, initial copies by the two prime ministers, which would have actually solved the Siachen problem, which is still costing us lives, not by each other's shells or mortars or bullets, but by the climatic conditions. Also, I'm very happy that President Zardari's role was played. Now, do you not remember that in our tenure as Pakistan People's Party, we were the first ones to have the ability to actually normalize trade with India. So the Pakistan People's Party stands for resolving the dispute. However, we cannot afford to shove them under the carpet. We must recognize where a dispute exists, and we must go on to solve them through negotiation, through on-the-table talk.
It appears an attempt to divert away from the problems within Pakistan itself. Rizal, I want to bring you back into this. Yeah, you know, the Indian External Affairs Ministry had a response when a direct question was put to Syed Akbaruddin. He responded saying, "Let there be no mistake about the the territorial integrity of India and Kashmir." Does India need to take cognizance of a comment like this, or can it just be dismissed, as Mr. Zaidi said, as rhetoric, a young politician trying to launch his career? Kashmir is always going to be a theme, in the rhetoric that politicians use in Pakistan. Can it just be kept aside as that?
Well, look, I mean, Bilawal, whether, whatever one says, is going to be one of the rising stars of the Pakistan People's Party. And I think it was, I think it was a correct step that the External Affairs Ministry made its position very, very clear.
Yes.
I mean, he may be young, but he is going to be a very, very important leader for both Pakistan and, also for India, because I'm sure he's going to play a larger role in his own party's affairs. There could possibly be a time when he is in a position of power.
Yes.
So I think there was nothing wrong in us just making our own position very, very clear and saying that this is an effort to look back at the past. I mean, we have to move on. These are issues that need to be settled, and we have a stated position, and whatever he says is not going to change things for us.
Okay, we're coming down to the last couple of questions on this debate, and something that a lot of people are very curious about. Comparisons, Mr. Partsarathy, have been made slightly flippantly, on Twitter. A comparison between Bilawal Bhutto and Rahul Gandhi, entitled, they've got the party at their, at their service. They can pretty much do what they like. Huge amount of default expectations from them in terms of leadership. You've observed all of this so closely firsthand as well. What is the kind of dependence that the PPP has on this young man? What are they looking to achieve through him?
Look, the People's Party, as I said, traditionally it has been a family party.
Yes.
It has been led by the Bhutto family. It was founded by Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. But I must say, in fairness, and I go along with Hina Rabbani Khan, one thing, Benazir changed as time moved along.
Yes.
Though she was the one who ended all dialogue with India in 1995 and closed all dialogue with India. But nevertheless, when one met her, one realized that she would like to take it forward, and she always spoke of the Simla agreement.
Yes.
And I met her even in India as late as 2008 or 2007. Now, the fact of the matter is, if Bilawal has done this as a one-off to test the waters,
yes,
the timing is totally wrong. The country is focused on other things, and right at the present moment, nobody in the world really takes this whole business about dispute and nuclear sort of flashpoint seriously. We talked to General Musharraf. We came pretty close to agreeing on a framework. If they want to take back to where we left off with General Musharraf, let's see if we can do it.
Hina Rabbani Khan, would you accept that there's a problem with the timing? At least, there's been a tragedy in Kashmir at this point of time. Several hundreds of people have died on both sides. There has been cooperation between both sides, an extension of assistance from the Nawaz Sharif government, from the Modi government for each other, a sort of friendly gestures between both sides in Kashmir, bound by this common tragedy. In that sense, don't you think the timing of such an aggressive statement, and said so aggressively, was ill-conceived?
I think the Indian media has gotten into the habit of making more out of any statement, any comment, anything that happens in Pakistan.
But ma'am, he's the patron-in-chief of the party.
I'm sorry, but yours is the Prime Minister who just called off Foreign Secretary level talks because the Foreign Secretary decided to meet Indian Kashmiri leaders who every foreign secretary in the history of India and Pakistan has always met. So you see, you are upping the ante. You are actually taking, going back into old, not even old positions. You're actually going to positions which have never.
The sense I'm getting is you're saying that this is just rhetoric and we should ignore it.
No, all I'm saying is that you should try and take it in context. This was at a rally. People do get emotional, and people have every right to state positions. I don't think he said anything out of the ordinary. Kashmir is a recognized dispute between India and Pakistan. I mean, look at the track record of the Pakistan People's Party. The Pakistan People's Party has always tried to come and have dialogue with India
Okay.
to resolve these issues so we can move on as sane, normal, neighbors, so we can let the entire region prosper. For heaven's sake, I mean, we are after 35 years, since 1965, no government in Pakistan was able to normalize trade with India. We took the first step towards that. We sent our president to Delhi when Prime Minister Manmohan Singh could not get the guts to come to Pakistan. We sent Prime Minister Gilani during our tenure to. So, this is the track record of the Pakistan People's Party.
Okay, ma'am, one final point.
To blow a comment out of context is obviously typical favorite pastime of Indian media.
Okay.
And you have to please be very careful because right now the message that your country has sent to the world by calling off the foreign secretary level talks is not a good one. It doesn't do much for your country or for the party.
One final point
I wish to make. This is with regard to young Bilawal's comment. We will take back Kashmir. You know, Mr. Inder Gujral told me once, just before I went to Islamabad as High Commissioner, that when he met Nawaz Sharif in Maldives, the latter told him something very sage. हम जानते हैं कि हम आपसे कश्मीर ले नहीं सकते और आप हमको कश्मीर दे नहीं सकते. We know that we can't take Kashmir from you and you can't give Kashmir to us. On that basis, let's talk real so that we work out a solution which everybody benefits from in the region.
I think Hina Rabbani Khar definitely has a point when she says that there are comments, there are things that are interpreted, and I think what G. Parsati said about let's keep it real. Let's sidestep all the rhetoric. It's time to sidestep all the rhetoric, the political mind games that keep being played by politicians all the time, and let's keep it absolutely real for the moment. I mean, I can tell you that on Twitter, online, on social media, the tone has been one of hilarity. Bilawal Bhutto is being made into something of a laughing stock online, people saying all sorts of very rude things about him, but that of course is par for the course as far as the things that politicians actually say. India has responded officially as well. The PPP says that don't take the thing out of the comment out of context, it must be seen for what it is. Well, there it is what it is. Thanks very much G. Parsati, Hina Rabbani Khar, Mubashir Zaidi and Rizal Laskar for joining us on this debate on Headlines today.